The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law. Happy weekend to you. Great show ahead. Keep in mind, we are here live answering your questions for free. The phone number will be on the screen during the entire program, 321-282-1055. Pleased to be joined, as always, by my beautiful co-host, Michaela Nicholas. Michaela, how are you today?
Great. I'm pleased to be joined by you two.
You are the mouthpiece, the spokesperson for the people at home. You're not a lawyer. I am a lawyer. You're going to answer the questions that they have that I might not even think about because I do this every day.
Yeah, if you let me speak, per usual.
Here's what's coming up. A lot of questions from you about roofing and insurance claims. What do you do? Our great friends from Universal will be here to talk about how to get your roof replaced. Also, Corey Cohen will join us today to talk about criminal defense, DUI specifically. Do you blow? Do you not blow? And our great friend Kene is going to join us to talk about tax season and divorce. How do they work together? Quick break. Are you ready?
I am.
Behind the Law will continue.
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
It's a weird time in Florida right now. We've had so many hurricanes come through. We have all this litigation and legislation when it comes to insurance claims. But let's be honest here, when your roof has a leak, you need to do something about it. But what do you do? That's the question. What do you do? Do you file an insurance claim? Do you just pay for it yourself? And then who do you trust to let repair your roof? It's probably the most important part of your house. And when it comes to roofing, there's one place we go, of course. Justin's here, Corey's here, Universal Roof and Contracting. And welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Again, as always.
Yeah.
I think about culture and trust, all right? And when I think about Universal, I think the culture that's been built over there is pretty incredible. But then if you're watching at home, you're like, Justin, why are you talking about culture? I just want to get a roof, and I want to get an inexpensive roof. Culture is important, especially when it comes to hiring a contractor or a roofing contractor. The culture of that company you hire, because look, it's not super cheap to get a roof, of course, and there are so many scumbags, pardon my language, roofing companies out there. You're not here to talk trash about your competition. I'm not trying to make you do that, but culture is so important when it comes to hiring a roofing company or any contractor. Tell me about the culture at Universal.
Yeah, 30 years in the making, man. It's been a family-owned and veteran-owned company since the very beginning. We've been under the same ownership, same name, same location, and we're just rooted in the community with that kind of a reputation. We do a ton of charitable stuff. We do veteran roof giveaways. Not only that, we just approach roofing for our clients and for our community in a way that's very ethical, and we work transparently with insurance companies, and we definitely try to de-scumbag ourselves out of the industry for sure.
Absolutely, and for the first time really ever on this show, I've put a QR code on the screen for you. Just take your phone, right, and aim it right at that QR code. And Justin and Corey have been nice enough to offer, if you do need a roof, 15% off that roof. That's a big number.
Sure, yeah.
15% off. And a lot of times people say, I don't know if I need a roof or not. I'm seeing a little dark stains on my ceiling here. I don't know if I need a new roof. Quite honestly, I don't want to recommend a lot of these people going to get a ladder and going up on top of their own roof.
Don't do it.
She was on a ladder the other day, I saw, and I was scared. I was literally scared to
Trying to get things done,
I didn't want that. But how do I know? You think I'm joking. This is not TV show fodder. I saw her on a ladder, and I was like...
you were shaking it?
Now the next question...
Yeah, he was trying to knock me off.
Well, the next question, obviously, was why weren't you on the ladder? Why was she on the ladder? And
I was going to ask that.
I don't have a great answer for that question, but how do I know? How do I know I need a new roof?
You have to get it. You have to get it looked at, and transparency is a great word that Justin said. You need somebody who's going to come out. First of all, free inspection. Doesn't cost anything for us to come out. I have homeowners that call frequently. I go out once a year and check out their roof and see what it's like, see if they've got granule loss, see if there's any storm damage, see what the gutters look like, if there's any missing shingles, anything like that. If the roof is brittle, it's a telltale sign of the roof is aging out. So Many times I go to a house, and when I shake hands and walk away, I tell them they've still got some life left in their roof, and to call me if you see some storm damage, or to call me next year. But other times, then we're putting together an estimate, or we're working with them through the insurance process.
So let's say there's some puddling going on my roof. How do you guys, I'm sorry, I can't even say this with a straight face. They told me something like really awesome to make me sound smart.
Oh, good.
It was
So
going to go over very well.
I just until I started laughing.
Now, do you want to ask yourself the question you had her
No, I
ask
got
you?
it. I got it. Let me
Okay,
do
let's hear
it.
it. Please,
Okay,
go.
so
Can we call a timeout? Philip deems our EP is here.
No, let
Can we
it
get a
go,
timeout or no?
please.
Okay,
Anyway,
no, we
thank
have
you.
to go.
No.
Okay, no timeout. This is live television.
Yeah, I know. So how does Universal really create pitch on my roof to prevent puddling?
That's a
What
great
a
question.
intuitive question. I can't believe you thought of that. So yes, there is Florida building code. So a lot of older Florida homes were built with very flat roofs, like tabletop, flat. Well, Florida building codes change almost annually. And so what we have to do to combat that is whenever it rains on a flat roof, if there's nowhere for the water to drain to, we have to create what's called tapered insulation goes in there to create some type of artificial pitch. It doesn't change the look of the house or the architecture of it, but what it does is it allows the roof to positively drain the water off of it so that no water intrusion occurs.
That's very important.
Great question.
I'm really proud
It
of
is,
you,
man. It's a great question.
It's awesome.
It is important. But another question that I'm getting a lot, and we have an attorney on the show a lot named Greg Crack who does insurance claims. But the thing is, Florida is so weird right now when it comes to insurance claims. And sometimes, if you need a new roof, you're not going to be able to go through your insurance company. Your claim gets denied. Or even if you do go through your insurance company, it can take 2-3 years. Meanwhile, your house is deteriorating inside because you don't have a new roof. You have roof problems. You're having water intrusion. You get mold. All sorts of bad things can happen to your house. But what you guys have done, I think, with these programs for someone who doesn't want to go through this entire insurance problem, insurance nightmare, headache sometimes, you created some great programs for payment to make it low interest, no interest, very little money up front. And it's not one of these deals where, oh, the roof will be $20,000 if you pay cash, but if you go through one of our little no interest programs, it's $40,000. You're not upselling that either.
Right.
And so you have great programs for that.
We do. We have wonderful financing in place, many different options. And I love that you said, the fact is blue tarps are not always the answer. And you see these houses that you drive by for a year, 2 years that have a blue tarp sitting on them. And it's because they're typically in litigation or they've been denied and they have no options, So like I said before, it costs nothing for us to come out and just lay out options and see what state they're in, and if we can get them financed, if we can get a roof on, if it makes sense, or if we need to, someone like Greg Crack push back on the insurance company. We have those kind of things up our sleeves to help with, but just that honest assessment of where they're at and how to solve their problem quickly, because we don't want mold or interior damage to happen just because of a roof leak.
I've seen so many people put off replacing their roof and creating so much more damage, but getting your roof replaced, I guess, is inconvenient for a family. Are there things I can do as a family to really prepare for this roofing job?
Yeah, first of all, everything's got to be budgeted, and you got to know that you're going to be able to afford this, and that if you can't, that's when those flexible financing options come into place. But really just wrapping your mind around the fact that it's going to be a slight interruption of life when we're there. You're not going to be catching up on sleep or enjoying a good book. Or we talk to so many people that work from home nowadays, and we let them know, like, if there's an office or a quiet space you can go to, because we're going to make a lot of racket. It's going to be a mess. We clean up everything and we leave your house better than how we found it, but at the same time, we really want to paint a picture that cars are going to have to be parked on the street because we're going to be using a dumpster in your driveway. Any photos on your wall that are valuable that might not be secured properly, you want to take the time, because you know your house better than we do, and really secure anything inside your house or around your house that may potentially could get damaged just because of the construction that's going on. So we try to provide those tips too.
Yeah, pets are a big issue too.
Sure.
People are more concerned about their pets than anything, so making arrangements.
How many dog bites deep are you so far?
No dog bites,
Good.
but they don't like roof installs.
And last thing today, and again, I've talked to so many families going through this who are really scared. When you have water coming in from your ceiling, it's scary. You don't feel safe.
Sure.
When you meet a new family, you tell them what they need. You get in there, you get the job done. Not only do they feel more safe, it's also aesthetically pleasing when they pull in the driveway at night. How do your families feel when you're done with that roof?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that at our inspections. We talk about what they like about the roof, what they don't like about the roof. A lot of times they buy a home with the roof as is, and it's not maybe their favorite color, but now with gutter colors and drip edge and all these designer shingle colors and solid colors and playing with what you're gonna, paint the house in the future, we actually spend a great majority of our time actually designing the roof. So that on the back end they've got killer curb appeal and helps with the resale value of the house, and all those things. So that's a fun part of the job.
We'll talk about next time you come on about fighting with homeowners associations. How was that? We'll save that for another day.
It's a fun fight.
Yeah.
Corey, Justin, always a pleasure to have
Absolutely.
you. Universal Roof and Contract, and the QR code is on the screen right now. Take your phone. You're better at this. What do you do exactly?
So you hover over the QR code and then you press it and it'll light up something in yellow, and that's where you want to go.
If you do that, we'll send a message directly to these guys right here for 15% off. Pretty amazing stuff. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for offering that to our viewers, of course.
Absolutely.
Quick break. When we return, tax season is here. No big deal, right? Okay, you file your income taxes. What if you're going through a divorce? What if you're going through a divorce right now? Who claims the kids? Who gets that tax refund? And all other questions you might have about divorce, parenting plans, child custody. It's all just ahead as Behind the Law continues.
Are you worried about your student loan payments? I don't blame you. The great news for you is now we have more options than ever. Go to our website, youhavepower.com, to find out what options may exist for you and your student loans.
Welcome back to the show. It is tax season. Tax season's weird because it seems like most people that are W-2 employees love tax season. February 1st, they're doing a dance because they're going to get a tax refund. Most of you that are self-employed, talk to me in September, October. They file extensions because they typically owe money. But what about if you're going through a divorce? Have you ever thought about how you deal with taxes as you go through a divorce? It's a good question, right? And it creates a lot of fights, I know, during divorce cases. Our favorite family law attorney, way taller than me, of course, which I still like him, though. I still like you, which is a very good thing. Kene Anusionwu is here. Kene, how you been, man? Good to see you.
I've been good, thank you.
It's been 2 or 3 months since we saw you. Thanks for coming back. But you do a lot of family law. You handle a lot of family law cases.
That's correct.
How do we deal with this tax issue, these tax fights, when people are going through a divorce?
That's a good question, Justin. Thank you for having me again.
Of course.
Happy New Year to you and to everybody. Taxes, everybody wants to fight over it in family law. And a lot of times people don't realize it might not be worth fighting over, because actually what you get in a refund could affect what you pay in child support. So for instance, if you're the one that's supposed to be paying child support, the way Florida statutes and the software calculates it, if you claim a child, that raises up your income, which in turn will require you to pay more in child support. So whenever you are determining if you want to claim a child or not, you definitely need to talk to your attorney and have them figure that out in advance. Will me claiming a child affect what I pay in child support, and is it worth it? Have that as a bargaining tool when you're in mediation to figure out whether or not you want to let the other parent claim so that you pay less in child support, a cost-benefit analysis.
So what I'm hearing is sometimes the ex or almost ex is like, oh, I'm claiming the children. And you could almost use that as leverage, like, okay, yeah, go ahead, but it's actually helping me out.
Exactly, if you understand. Or it's a great bargaining chip to get something in return to give that up. A lot of the times people think it means a lot, and sometimes it may mean nothing. Especially if you have a certain amount of children you can already claim. Right? There's a maximum of children you can claim to actually get a benefit from claiming 1 or 2 children that you're fighting over.
So let's say that there's one parent who doesn't make a lot of money. The other parent makes a significant amount of money, but the children spend more time with the parent not making a lot of money, but the person making the money's spending the most money on the kids. How do you determine who claims them at that point? If my question made any sense whatsoever.
It does make sense, and that depends. It depends what tax bracket they're in. It depends if they have other children they can claim, and it depends on if they owe back child support to other children or children in the case that I'm representing them in. Those are factors you have to weigh. So for instance, if they owe back child support in the case that I'm representing them in, then I tell them, hey, if you claim, let's figure out how much you would get back potentially every year and see if it's a benefit to you to get that debt erased by claiming this child. So that's something that we also weigh. And then you have to look at, do they need a passport? Do they owe back child support? If you owe more than $2,500 and you don't have a passport, there's a restriction on getting a new one. If you owe more than $2,500 in child support arrears, and the arrears have been established. So we look at that and we say, okay, if you claim, will that debt be erased by 1 year of claiming the child? But the money that you get in a refund goes directly to the mother or father, whoever it is, that you owe child support to for child support arrears. So there's a lot of things you have to weigh when making a decision on that.
I didn't know that at all. So let's talk about the IRS a little bit, because it seems like when you have husband and wife together, you're going to be together forever, we're soulmates, and then ultimately the relationship breaks down. But you sort of confide in one another while you're together, and maybe there's one spouse who is cheating with the IRS, or maximizing returns, let's say. Absolutely. And then as the relationship breaks down, one of them was cheating or whatever, they're always going to say, not always, but sometimes they're going to say, you were cheating the IRS, I'm going to go tell on you, I'm going to file a claim with the IRS right now. Do you ever hear that, and what ultimately happens with that?
I hear that all the time. Most of the time, in my experience, nothing happens. However, I advise my clients to go and make sure you sit with a tax professional, because there's something that will allow a person who's completely not involved in fraud have like an innocent spouse designation, where the spouse who actually did the wrongdoing is responsible for anything that comes along with that return that they filed. Also, when we go to mediation, we address those issues, generally speaking. So if they're going through a divorce, we say, for this tax year, you claim on your own, I claim on my own. And then we claim this child, we claim this child. These assets and debts will be addressed in a return. Ultimately, you don't want a person to be damaged by someone else's wrongdoing, especially when you're going through litigation. Yeah. So we try to address that in the forefront. And if we can't, then we make sure a tax professional helps them address that. And we have the language in the MSA, or we ask the judge to put certain language in the final judgment that can be presented to the IRS to determine why certain debts and wrongdoing should be the responsibility of one person over the other. Because a marital unit, usually they file a joint return. That's generally responsibility.
Sure.
But you don't want both parties to be responsible for the wrongdoing of one.
How long are these divorce cases taking right now?
If there's children and there's assets, you're looking at least 6 months to a year, minimum. And with the judges constantly changing, and there's actually a shortage in Orange County, they're looking for a new judge to fill in a division. So that's slowing things down too.
I'm seeing hearing times even taking months and months and months just to get a hearing date. It's pretty insane out there.
It is. To get more than an hour hearing time, you're looking at least 6 weeks, minimum.
Yeah, unbelievable. Kene, always killing it on this show. You got to come back here soon. How's that?
That sounds great.
Good deal. Great to see you as always. If you have any sort of questions about divorce or child custody, the tax disputes, Kene's your man. 321-282-1055. One very quick break here. When we return, let's talk criminal law, DUI, and battery. A little bar fight happens, right? I barely pushed the guy. Can I go to jail for that? Can I be charged with battery? Corey Cohen's up next to answer that question and more as Behind the Law continues. If you own a house, it is your most valuable possession. You need to know what windows you have. Why don't you think about your windows? Do you have any idea that your windows really dictate your electricity bill every single month? There's one place to turn in this community for windows in your house, and it's certainly Renewal by Andersen. Dan Brigman joins me. You're family to me at this point, let's be honest. I love you, I love your family. But the Renewal by Andersen family is what makes you so trustworthy. The culture there, it's a family.
Absolutely, Justin. And by the way, glad to be here. And yeah, it's our people, it's our process, it's our product, but it's our people more than anything. When we come out to your house, it's all about you. It's about, we're going to treat your home as if it's our own. We're going to do the same with your family.
I put a QR code on the screen for you, and Dan is offering you an unbelievable deal today. If you go to the QR code, you're going to send an email. What do they get?
Man, you buy one window, get 40% off the next, almost unheard of. we're excited.
Unbelievable. And then you talk about the electricity bill, because windows, I don't think people understand how important the windows are to the electricity bill every month, and the electricity bills are skyrocketing.
It's extremely important, and glass in your house takes up over 25% of the square footage of your wall space in your home. So that's the equivalent of one full wall in your house. Imagine sun hitting that all day long and all of that heat coming in.
A lot of people think window replacement would be very expensive. Sometimes we can do it for free. When you think about monthly payment over time, no interest, the money you save on your electricity bill, it's free.
Absolutely. By the time you put all the factors together, the energy savings, the curb appeal, the resale value, all of these things just add up. And then you got the financing that we have going on right now. Zero interest, 2.9, things that you just don't see anymore.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
If you own a house, thank you, Dan, as always. If you own a house, you need to send us a message right now. You will not be disappointed. Renewal by Anders. So happy to be joined today by our good buddy Corey Cohen. He's a criminal defense attorney, and here's the question a lot of you have had is, look, I barely touched the guy. I was breaking up a fight. I pushed him a little bit. I was trying to save someone, but I was charged with battery. How can I be charged for a crime for barely touching someone? Can you be, and how should you act when you're out in public? Corey, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Thank you. Doing well, thank you.
First of all, how's your basketball game? How you doing?
It's been a while.
It's been a minute?
It's been a minute.
I asked that because, so Corey and I have played a lot of basketball together, sometimes at his house, but when we played ball together, not to get too personal, we played basketball with other criminal defense attorneys.
Sure.
We played basketball at the same time with state attorneys.
That's right.
It's a kind of a small community. Here's why I want to ask this question, though, is because that relationship on, say, Sunday morning basketball with other criminal defense attorneys, but also state attorneys who you have cases with, maybe you have hearings the next day, that relationship that you have with these state attorneys who are on the other side of cases, how does that help you help your clients?
I'll give you an example, and I'm not going to say names, but one of the prosecutors we played with, we had a client recently who scored a lot of prison. They just got released from prison and actually qualified as a prison release reoffendee, which means if convicted, the judge has to give them the max. And we got probation.
Really?
So it helps.
And is it different for maybe you who've been doing criminal defense for so long, you've developed so many relationships, do you think that helps you, maybe separates you from whether it's a younger criminal defense attorney or someone who's not living in that world where you can really pick up the phone call and say, look, state attorney this, state attorney that, let's give my client another shot. How much does that help you?
It helps a lot. Reputation is everything in this business, as you know.
Of course it is. So let's get right to it then. Battery is a very weird crime in some ways if you think about it, because it doesn't take a lot to get charged with battery, does it?
No, I mean, battery, people think you have to have some sort of injury, some sort of malicious intent. A battery is literally touching somebody against their will.
Sorry, I was tempted.
Yeah, do it.
I was tempted. I have a great criminal defense attorney here.
Well.
Technically,
what about this?
That's
Does this count?
That's
Really?
a battery.
Damn.
We had
It's okay, that was consensual for everyone
we had a
watching.
client that poured water on somebody else's dress, a neighbor. That's a battery. I mean, that's all it takes.
I also hear about assault. You hear assault, you hear battery. What are the differences in the two?
So they're very different. Assault is a threat. It's not actually touching somebody. I know in some states they call it assault and battery, but here in Florida, assault is a threat. And you have to, but the threat has to be imminent. It has to be real. So it can't be a hypothetical threat. For example, the law school scenario is if you're wearing glasses, and I say, but if you weren't wearing those glasses, I'd punch you.
Yeah.
That's not an assault. It has to be imminent. It has to be, immediate.
So for whatever reason, my brain goes to the bar room. Okay, say we're in the bar with our buddies having 12 Busch Lights or something. And there's another group of people over there watching the same NASCAR race, and they're talking smack. And look, he's talking about my mother. I'm going to go punch him. Like that's how we handle things, right? But that's a crime.
That's a crime. That's not self-defense.
Drinking Busch Light is not a crime. It's the hitting,
be.
right? Oh, that's a crime as well.
After.
That's
two
not,
crimes
that's,
committed in the one
That's
punch?
definitely not self-defense.
So what is self-defense then in that situation?
Self-defense is defense of yourself or others, but it's only defense when your life or your, it's death or great bodily harm that you're protecting yourself from.
All right, so again, let's go back to the same bar. We can drink a regular beer, not Busch Light, okay? Right. And we're sitting there, and the guy is talking trash, and he's coming at me. He's right in my face. I can't slug him.
It depends.
Okay.
That honestly depends on the circumstances. I've had cases like that, and it's based on, do you know this person to have a propensity for violence? You know, how much larger is the person than you? You know, what are they saying to you? What manner are they? That's the problem. It's very, it's based on the facts. So what are they saying? How are they coming at you?
And I think a lot of times, too, maybe depends on who you hire and how seriously they're going to take your case, because again, the public defender's office they do a great job. You know, they have a lot of cases. They're very, very busy. It's a free attorney essentially for someone charged with a crime, but they do have a lot of cases, and I think a lot of times they're going to want to plea out to not go to trial, to avoid fighting back. But what people don't understand is, okay, you're not going to go to jail, but you do have a mark against you when you plea out often, right?
And you could go to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, battery does carry up to a year in jail. And so if you have a record, it's not necessarily your first offense, you could certainly go to jail. But, you know, the biggest difference between the public defender and our office is communication. When you call, we always have someone that answers the phone. We don't use voicemail. I mean, we literally have somebody answer the phone and answer your question every time you call.
What about if I hire the public defender, or I'm assigned a public defender, I guess I should say, appointed? How does that communication work normally?
It's difficult because they're in court all day, so you typically do not receive a call back. But there are some great public defenders. It's really hit or miss.
And again, I'm not talking anything bad. We have great public defenders out there. It's just they are overwhelmed with cases. And like you're saying, they're in court all day long. They have to call you back at night, and at that point they're gone. It's tough out there. So what do I do? How do I make a decision in a case? I've hired you. I didn't do it. I want to go to trial. I want to go to trial versus pleading out. That's a tough decision. How do I make that decision?
I mean, you know, that's a hard one. I mean, you know, we have innocent people that do plea because of the threat of going to jail, prison after conviction. But we also have people that stand their ground and fight it, and they win. But it's a tough decision.
You never know what a jury's going to do. It's scary.
No, you never.
I learned that the hard way a couple weeks ago in a civil case. I was just shocked by this jury. You never know. Corey Cohen, always good to see you, buddy. Come back and see us again soon. Charged with a crime, call Corey, please. He's your guy. 321-282-1055. One final quick break. When we return, it's What Did We Learn?
Your debt does not have to control your life. You have the power to potentially lower or even eliminate your debt. I'm attorney Justin Clark. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your financial life.
As always, we wrap it up this weekend with What Did We Learn? Michaela, what did you learn today?
I learned all about pitch.
The roof.
The roof thing, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, did you? That was kind of impressive.
I mean, I learned a little bit about, your question, I mean, it was okay.
Universal is
I learned about pooling.
Yeah,
I thought you were
you
talking
just
about
have
a swimming
to go with
pool.
Universal no matter what.
There's no
when it
question
comes
about
to your
that.
roof.
I learned if you're at the bar, someone's talking smack, walk away. There's no reason to hit them. You don't want to have to go hire a lawyer, go to court, go to jail, right? Just walk away. Be a bigger man. Even if your friends say you're a wuss, just walk away.
Well, it's that positive self-talk.
And then finally, I learned that this tax situation in a divorce can be really, really nasty. And a lot of angry spouses are running to the IRS and making complaints. Kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah, people are crazy.
Great job today, as always, Michaela.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us every weekend. We'll see you again next weekend for more Behind the Law.
I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you've been threatened by the IRS and you're feeling scared, call me now or visit youhavepower.com.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.